let me go back and explain this to you. On the first day of summer, as I said, all of the religious teachings in our Western world come from the Northern Hemisphere, all right? If you go to the very first day of summer, directly overhead in our Northern Hemisphere, the first day of summer is the constellation that begins summer is called Leo. So consequently, the sun is called the Lion King. Disney makes movies about the Lion King, and Christians go to see the movie The Lion King and haven't got the faintest idea in the world what they're looking at. Disney also is many things, but stupid is not one of them. So the Lion King is the sun in the constellation of Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah. But consequently, 3 months later, he enters into something called autumn, or the fall. Why? Because he was standing straight, and now he's falling. So the first day of fall, he is halfway on his way to the southern hemisphere. Now understand, each day, from the first day of summer, the Lion King, it moves 1 degree southward every day, 1 small degree southward every day, until it hits the 3 months, the 90 days, it hits the 90th degree. It is now passing over the equator, and it's heading south. 3 months later, 90 degrees more, and it finally ends up in the lowest part of the southern sky. For 3 days, once it reaches the lowest part, it's called the winter solstice. That's on December 22nd. The sun going southward reaches the lowest point in the southern sky on December 22nd. And the next day, December 23rd, it rises on that same degree. The following day on the 24th, rises on the same degree. So it hasn't gone any further south, and it hasn't started back up north either. So for 3 days, the sun is dead in his tomb. On December 25th, each year, the sun moves 1 degree northward, which means it's now moving again. So therefore, it is born again. And we now are able to celebrate God's Son's birthday on December 25th. It is born again. Why? It is now beginning its annual journey back to the Northern Hemisphere. And as it gets to that halfway point again, and this is important, as it gets to that halfway point again, we call it spring. Because he was dead in winter. He was a Lion King in summer. He's now fallen. Now he's completely dead in winter. Everything's dead in winter in the Northern Hemisphere. Now he's coming back, so he's springing back to life. And in the first week of spring, he crosses over the equator again, coming back to the Northern Hemisphere. So in the ancient world, they celebrated first week of spring. And in the ancient world, when you died, like the sun did in December, when you died in the ancient world, people would say, grandmother passed last night. We still say the same thing today. Grandfather passed on last night. Grandmother passed away, or they passed. The word passed always meant death. They have died. They passed last night. And so consequently, the Egyptians said that when you died, you passed over from the east of the Nile to the west of the Nile. You have passed over to the next world. So consequently, the sun, which was the Lion King of the tribe of Judah, he was really hot. And then in the fall, he's now falling. And now he dies in Capricorn. He dies in the winter. Then on December 25th, he moves 1 degree northward, so we celebrate that he's come back to life. He is now moving back into the Northern Hemisphere. He crosses the equator on the first week of spring. And the ancient peoples, 1,000 years before Hebrews ever existed, celebrated the first week of spring, and they called it the Passover. Okay? The Passover is the sun passing over the equator on its way back to the Northern Hemisphere. And once it reaches the Northern Hemisphere, the Passover is in the constellation in the ancient zodiac of Virgo. So he is born of a virgin. Wake up. Get a life. This is why Christians are called believers, because they believe. They don't know anything. They believe. And I am saying that if there is a God, which I am totally convinced there is, that we had better wake up and start showing respect for the divine heavens and the story that is written in the divine heavens, because there are some serious problems.